Exactly.
There's the house.
The howls are coming out. Wonder if it's full moon tonight. Definitely starting to sound like that. Exet with the first ban is going to be removing Fink off the board. So great to see people happy for not seeing Finka. Who's the next one? The Nuck. Oh, that's going to be an interesting one. No sneaking around the cameras this time for Exet. Gonna have to make sure they take them out. The fender to be removed is going to be Valkyrie, so no cams to be tossed out either.
All right, the pressure is on, Wolves. As much fun we're having joining the lobby, we've got to actually make some business happen in it. Exet, you're still so close, but you always knew the danger coming in as Army. Removed there by Exet. Although they used that pretty exceptionally.
Yep.
They don't want to roll that dice on Chalet. And again, it's always worth mentioning, they have a lot of intel on how Wolves like to play this map. They've taken it 3 times, attempted over the recent sort of swing of a couple of months, and they've only won it once.
Yeah, and that doesn't really speak well for them. And I just said it, their attacking win rate, 20%. Guess what side they're starting up? It's going to be the attack. It's going to be very rough for the Wolves. But if they manage to at least get 3, maybe 4 rounds out, they'll find themselves in a good position. Now, as we head on towards that basement first, towards the snowmobile and wine cellar, there's always this one hatch we keep on talking about in the kitchen. You need to keep that under control. If you have that as a defender, a plant is looking very unlikely in the wine cellar, as you can just stop them from coming in from the trench wall or boiler area, as you may. Diaz is currently reinforcing it. Otherwise, we do sometimes see some quick pushes as well around the snowmobile, but those usually have some different operators with them, so it seems like it will be a wine take from the Wolves. Some of the repicks come through. Now, I'm actually quite excited about one thing, Emmy. I really want to see a Sense in play.
I think
Sense is really good on Chalet.
Because there's a couple of those little pocket drone holes that just roll their way through to say, hey, ooh, Spirits doesn't quite get the full catch on a player lost in and amongst the Christmassy trees of Chalet. Instead, going for a quick loop back round. Gomez, he wants to pay attention to whoever swings round. It might be a scrappy fight. There it is. They're able to trade it out. P4 was the second swing round. They had a bit of support and love, but they've lost Mowgli. Again, a huge player for the team to get to this position. Spirits are still sort of keeping a presence here. They're repeatedly trying to find a fight. P4 goes down. But there's no real way to connect to that unless they really try and put a chase in. Are they going to go out the double door?
They definitely are. Looking to go aggressive here to confirm the kill. We'll find it, but loses his life as a result. People also dealing some damage to Kino, but he'll live for now. And that brings us to that 3-3. A very explosive start of this first half. First round. 1 minute's gone and only 6 players remain.
The site is buried down in the basement as well. And you're still having some sort of pockets of being able to crack it open. They have the breach, but they've lost a lot of burn. So they're going to have to try and force their way through those Aruni gates. Rise finally makes some boots in the ground on the building itself. They've lost everybody around the balcony and the double door. And a minute 30 for them to try and put that final bit of pressure onto Exet, who decided to go for a very tall stretch on this. All the guns currently pointed towards that west main take, and the idea with the open hatch, I mean, it sort of gives them an angle.
Only 3 drones that can be used as well currently by Wolves. There is, of course, 5 on the board. One was still in pocket, but we're starting to move them around now. Trying to find some information on these players. Grenades to be tossed in as well. Bibo, of course, was afraid of a player still being around in the kitchen. Not going to be the case anymore. As the ball falling back towards the site. And an opening needs to be made. Pings are starting to come through. That's at least 1. That's 2 currently spotted out onto the basement. A 3rd has still gone on scene. As they're starting to come around on the backside here. An opening soon to be on the board. Rice springs by. Doesn't want to be hit through the door. The hatch is under control of Bibo as well. All they need to do now is create the opening they need onto the second wall so they can plant behind Wine.
There it is. Rise takes a bit of damage from the fight, across the door and onto Blue. Shinka is going to get the other breach through 30 seconds. And they've got to see if they can try and make some movement behind it. There's nobody currently going for the retake on the verticality. They're going to try and keep this as a 3 versus 2 on the fight inside. And Yoga swings wide and takes the head off of Rise. Kino on a backline as Diaz takes the fight. He's able to get the core in as Diaz with the double. And Exet get us off to a quick start.
A very quick first round indeed. I mean, you know, with 1 minute gone off the board, we only had 6 players left at that time. And Exet managed to close it out. Too disturbing of Wolves' setup, unable to truly get their attack underway. DAMWON Gaming is going to be up next. There's some way that Exet, or not Exet particularly, but NA used to attack this. Through that basement you go, you open up that small line of sight in the supply line or the pantry, however you would like to call it.
You do?
Suddenly it becomes impossible to play, or at least a lot of pressure to play around there. You can just jump in, get for the plants right afterwards if you have that little bit of library control. As you see right here, the kills being picked up one by one. Nothing really Wolves could do.
This is kind of the thing I was alluding to in the previous map of if Exet start to build up on their defense and take the first showdown. Here, that's a confidence that leans into the gameplay that they've been doing super well, which is let's swing and win. All of them are very capable gunners, and all of them have demonstrated that throughout groups. They started a bit slow today. They started a bit shakier than what we've seen, but if that energy in that sort of first round can keep that continued, that is a sort of worrisome moment for Wolves, who don't quite have that five-fingered slap.
Butch drawn in, just trying to find some information, allowing P4 to push up as well. Drones are ahead of them. They want to find this early entry in the side of Wolves, and P4 is really close to the side already. Just one hallway away, really. Just needs to turn the corner, and he's inside. Do they know on the side of Exet? I mean, they are roaming currently. There's a couple of them offside. I think there's only one or two actually defending the side itself. So if there is going to be the entry soon, just Yoga on the supply line there. Then Wolves can really quickly take control of this.
They do need to put the pressure onto the vertical, though. If that goes untested and you just try and drive through, usually it doesn't quite work your way. People on the far end is going to try and get some control on Balk. They've got a lot of fight coming towards Spirits, but again, this confidence. Exet are leaning in. Bibu leans back. Takes care of Spirit on the rotate back round. He's gone. Rise on the double window too, and they've been able to get control over onto Bedroom. Gomez now has to pay a bit of attention, but with nothing else currently being put towards that split, it's that steady change.
There's a steady change to come through. Mowgli popping some shots through the windows, unable to truly connect to anything as of yet. Touchstone taking care of some important ADSs right there. Gomez takes a small amount of damage. Swinging around in that library, they want to hold control. This is, of course, directly above the gaming site. If they do manage to take control of that, keep control of that on the side of Exet, it's going to be very difficult to get an actual plant through. Ooh. As Mowgli finds one wall bang, but needs to fall off instantly, gets up towards the second floor and wants to take the library now.
Vertical is theirs, at least for now, but there's a deep rotate coming through from the side of Gomez. Do they have the awareness of this loose player? Because that can turn into a massive disaster. There it is, though, P4 had the catch round. There's not quite going to be a strike. Yoga does strike one back on the little box window, and they're going to tuck themselves around on the corner so they can try and keep any semblance of support towards Kino. But P4, a slow creep round, 40 seconds, and the kit making its way from Dining. They're trying to find a cross angle.
And Wolves is able to take that second round in control. Equalize that scoreline. Some smart howls coming out again from the crowd. Definitely going to need those because, again, if they lose this map, they're out of the tournament. And we won't have a confirmed EU finalist. They need to beat Exet if Exet go through, and that would be either Rogue or G2. We get into round 3. Wolves just off the back of a round victory. We're headed towards the kitchen and dining area. Now, this is where I like to see Sense the most. They have that gadget.
They do.
Some call it the roly-poly, but I'll just go for the light screen. Blocks off everything. Of course, glass can look through, but that is, especially on this side, on the dining, you can throw it in from outside, suddenly you can dig in deep right behind the bomb chassis, and there's nothing anybody can do except for toss over C4s, except for toss over impacts or smoke canisters or anything that you have to try and deny it. Because walking through that might be a bit dangerous, might be a bit risky. We're not quite seeing the sense yet, though. It is going to be Lion to be repicked by Rise. The Nomad as well for flank watch, of course. And P4 bringing in some verticality. That means that they probably will be taking that top floor under control first. However, Exet is putting in quite some resources, quite some rotation holes to make sure that they have all mobility they need to stay up there for a bit of a longer while.
Okay, Wolves, are we going to have another back and forth show, or can you try and break up a little bit of the momentum? Chalet does lean itself well into attackers. And if Exet are able to keep that bite and fight game before they go over onto their attack, it could spell a shorter day here for the Wolves, leaving tail tucked between their legs. Mowgli's in, and he's instantly in towards Spirits on the bathroom. There's obviously Rise coming up on the far side. The ping's there, and Mowgli wins it out. As we hear a Gon 6 pop elsewhere too. There's the E1D, there's some hope and support, there's control from the Nomad of these loose Exet players. Free fires and angles, Kino is tempted to have a taste, but thinks better of it.
Still, many opportunities for Exet to retake this though. They've created so many lines of sight that they still can fight on from the main staircase, can even retake from the library hallway here. And, you know, having Kino, having Gomez still out there, they're going to be making sure that Wolves is not able to open up as freely as they otherwise would, using, of course, the caber on the sledge. Verticality, it's key, just to get these players out of their positions. Try and dislocate them, push them to different areas. As they are starting to push in more towards that top floor, they do need to take the fight with these defending players at some point. I believe it's actually only Diaz currently on the side. All the others are around library. Do Wolves know this? I don't think they do. Selmas are coming out, they're breaching the hatch. That will elevate the pressure even more on Diaz. And soon they'll start pushing in from the trophy side.
Kino back towards the top of the door. Wolves there. Try and hold on. Just that little sliver of intel of this corner player. Another second, and Kino desperately wanting to push further, but it's Yoga that takes the first. Mowgli removed. Kino pulls himself back. He doesn't want to hand them a response and a bit of revenge. The grenade is just going to take a little bit too much air. Gomez is tucked dangerously close.
Probably think it's going to be close, clear now as the grenade just popped off. Didn't actually pick up any kills, so he might not know Gomez is out there. He might go for an absolute huge flank later on in this round. Flashbangs to be tossed out. They want to go aggressive. It's Shinka that will find Yoga. The plant is going down. 45 seconds soon to be on the board. It is before that finds Kino. Gomez will strike back though. He is up top. They need to worry about that as it's only up to Shinka now in a 1v2 situation.
Shinka's trying to find just a pocket of space. He's got the pings and he's got the alibi. But it's 36 seconds. Gomez on the verticality has to try and make his way back down. He knows they're not going to hand it to them through the soft here. He's looking for the fight just onto main. They've seen the kit, but they don't really have the idea on where the player went. Who's going to get it first?
Oh, Gomez! What a shot that was on Shinka. He will clutch it up for Exet, and then they will find their second defensive round. Unfortunate there for Wolves. They had the post plant, but not quite the positioning. Normally you want to have that verticality to deal with this. You want to have someone up above. But that grenade, I said it before, it lands a little bit too far. They think it's going to be clear, and Gomez strikes at the right moment. Want to be in a safe position, maybe even outside a trophy to take that fight. But with the position where Gomez was, there was no opportunity for him to either retake that top floor or to go outside the trophy to try and play it off like that. Gomez being alive, staying patient on that top floor, absolutely crucial for Exet to win that round. And they find themselves in that lead with both a map and a round right now. Gaming, Bar back on the board here. The round that Wolves managed to win before, but it was quite close. Exet wanted to bring it back there. Make sure they take that victory as well. And make sure Wolves will start to worry for their future of this tournament. Now, this top floor setup that we see on the pillar is going to be super natural. That's what you almost always see. It is kind of a focus point for the attack, though. You want to make sure you get rid of that player because it's basically the anchor point of the library. As soon as you get rid of the mezzanines player, you are able to push in library. Then you can deal with the player that is on top of the blues there. So the twitch of Bibu should have been crucial there. And I'm not sure if he got the bulletproof camera, but Yoga took it down before he did too much damage. Yeah, bulletproof gone. No, stays actually. Sorry.
Nope, just missed.
It's a big loss.
The width. And there's the irritating throw out. And that's just going to keep pinging continually.
Actually, Twitch drone used to get rid of it there. So huge piece of utility used.
Oh, they're out.
Fireball, and Yoga's already gone, so.
Yeah, not going to play that game. Realized that all the pressure was coming exceptionally hot towards that position. We saw, obviously, Wolves try and drive themselves from the opposite side last time on this. They took the fight onto the bedroom first, and this, it seems like they want to be a little bit more direct towards the site. With that, Prisma still outside with the attention that it's calling. They're going to go for the hop and make sure they don't get dropped by the player. P4's got the close tuck in. Grenades are going to start rolling around. That first one to get rid of the Prisma. Kino wants to see if he can get rid of the player.
Grenade used to get rid of a Prisma is not something you often see, but taken care of anyway. Goma's now playing inside of that little side office, not playing on the actual mezzanines. We'll find the first Mowgli taken out. Goes aggressive, more aggressive in the library actually. Wants to make sure that this gets locked off. P4 misses the opportunity to go for that first kill. Might be swung upon here if he doesn't lock off Gomez first. Does so. Takes control. Wants to push on towards blue, but gets hopped as he finds Yoga.
There, onside the box, there's another fight back round. It's Kino and Spirits with one apiece. They're able to almost get the take onto the balcony. P4, he's a little bit stuck, and well, Spirits makes him even worse. There is Spirits! And Exet aggressively retake the territory and brush off the timeout from Wolves.
Wolves is in need of some support right now because it's starting to slip away from them. Map 1, Exet. This map currently, Exet leading 3-1 on their defense here on Chalet. And we know Wolves' attack is not the strongest on this map. 21% win rate. Translates into about 1 in 5 rounds. That is what we're currently seeing. But they really need to get a second, maybe even a third out to feel comfortable as they go over towards the defense.
Ooh. Bit spicy from Spirits. And
very spicy.
I guess this is that sort of glow and grow up from Exet. This is more like the Exet that we've seen over groups.
The Let's Go's are coming back out again. And they will need it. Give them that home crowd buff here in Berlin. As Exet, they have that lead, they have that 2-round advantage now as well. Still playing on that defense on a map that Wolves, well, it's fair to say, aren't really that comfortable on if you look at pure percentages, if you look at pure statistics. And of course, Wolves, they didn't have the strongest map pool going into this tournament. They have some permabans. And that means you will always be playing a map you feel less comfortable on. Again, that Prisma, by the way, just being a nuisance to the side of Wolves. Last time they used a grenade to get rid of it. Hope they don't do that this time around because it is a bit of a waste, possibly.
All right, Wolves. Sure, sometimes the first round after a timeout isn't yours, but this. Now we got the rotate background to Snowmobile, which was our opener. The attempt to control. The E1D rumbles across the many rooms of Chalet, but it's actually no closer to catching a player. There's a lot of utility being put forward here by Wolves, and it's being quickly removed. Exet, they're able to kind of keep closing down and punishing that approach game here. 4-1 drones left sitting alive, and nobody caught from the cost.
Not yet. First minute has passed. No control, really. Mowgli needs to be careful with his back there because there's players aggressive. Just saw someone, almost gets flicked on, gets the first kill, finds Spirit, gets on the second, is not able to fully connect as he loses his life. Kino blocks him off with the MK14, and that means we're stuck in that 4-on-4 still.
Just caught by his knee being a little bit wider there. And Kino has kept this punishment game up. They keep popping their heads up. They keep getting a response to every single time Wolves take a body, and then they're able to slip themselves away. More dedicated trade game has really come through for them. BB's trying to break his way onto red. He wants to try and bait the swing here, but Yoga isn't going to take it. We throw our minds back to the last time we were here, and he pulled about a 3K just from that tucked-in corner onto blue alone. And Wolves aren't going to try and roll that dice. They're still having to clear the rest of the map itself. There's obviously still that Prisma out the top, and still a lot of structure in place.
There's way too much in place for the Wolves to just hit the site directly now. They need to do some preparation, and they barely have any support or control. If you look at it, all they really have is the kitchen and the big garage, but that doesn't let you directly into the site. 50 seconds, they need to start opening up. So the first one will be going on the back of the wine cellar. The second exothermic will be going on the boiler room wall. But Goma's already in an aggressive position to try and go right at Shinka as soon as that wall opens up. ADSs are being wasted. Wolves, you need to reply to Exet now.
P4 suffers again. That hard-hitting DMR just getting the little wings of the Wolves players. 20 seconds. And they've all stacked themselves here for a West main charge. You can see Exet's pull back to give them a firing line. Diaz is able to finish one. Shinka at least fires back, but 10 seconds, and Yoga's still on the close corner. The blinds come through. They've dug themselves in. It's a 3 versus 2. Shinka's going to see if he can find a fight. Yoga gets the kill instead, and now Shinka with 1, and no one else. Tucked around onto a corner. Exet take another.
Kino gets the lock off there, and it's going to be 4-1. Exet leading, only 3 rounds away from making it to the semifinals. And Wolves are seeing it slip away slightly. So the master bedroom and office will be up next. They've already used their tactical timeout, cannot do that again. Some Kino fans in here as well, I hear. Keep it up, very loud. It's a lot of noise the NA crowd needs to make here.
I mean, it's the NA I wouldn't say crowd, I would say
the attendees.
The NA contingency that's made their way over here. Because, I mean, NA has a lot to make up for, let's be real, but Exet's kind of doing it, you know? And you got to realize, ooh, if Exet are the ones that make their way to the final, then that technically means Exet are the team that knocks you out of this. And that means NA, there's still a chance.
There is that chance.
I hate to be the bearer of bad EU news.
There's still hope, Emmy. This game's also not even over yet. It's getting closer, though, to being over. As the first map, again, Exet says this first half seeming like it could be a 5-1 lockout. Wolves haven't really been able to bring all too much together, except for that one round they managed to win. But even that was very bare bones, was very close and almost went Exet's way. So they need to try something else. And they don't have tactical timeout to talk to the coach, to think of these things. So it needs to be coming from the members themselves. Rise, leading his team. Does he have something left to give for this game?
Well, here's a lot of attention played and a little bit of a hold here. Kino, he started to find himself more into this game. Is this going to be a blow of pace? They're going for a bit of a break. The bounce on the grenade through to anybody that might be tucked onto the end. Rise is going to lock off the side. They've already suffered from the swings, and they're suddenly inside. Spirits at least stops the entire flood through, but P4 does find Kino, and P4 finds another one. Spirits is gone. The bathroom has fallen into their control. They're looking to see if they can just try and find one more round. Gomez removes the air jab and wants to now remove the person who popped it, but they're going to pull themselves down away from the double window. It's a spray through. Gomez takes the head off of Rise.
It's a balcony clear now. They know they don't have to worry about that any longer. So as Shinka now repels in, it's him and P4 coming up from that south side. Hopping comes through. P4 is trying to go for a plan any time now. They have someone on the window, Bibu, to try and protect them. No one down below to get the nitrocell or an impact through, but the sound will definitely come through. They know something is happening.
There looks like there's a rotation, but Gomez changed his mind. It should be a post plant with the upside down repel. Locking off nobody, but forces it. P4 gets the end. There's Diaz. A consistent end to a lot of sentences. Just cannot get the sliver of the head. 30 seconds, and Yoga's able to slip his way past from the hole. Shinka, he gets the spray through. Yoga gets put, and Diaz gets once again another end to a sentence. A 1 versus 1 once again. The C4, not quite the catch. Shinka pulls himself back, pre-fires through the soft. Has the Selmas to open up the angle if he wants to. Diaz is trying to play a bit of a cat and mouse game. 11 seconds. He's out of time at this point. He cannot hold it. There should be a Wolves lockdown, but he at least gets the kill.
No time for the defuse anymore, unfortunately for him, but Wolves get their second round. The Howls are coming back. And can they now make the difference onto their defensive side instead? I love these Howls. 4-2. Exet still in the lead. There's still some ground to make up for Wolves. And let's go, Exets are coming out.
It was always going to happen.
It was always going to happen at some point. It's quite a bunch of people from NA I've actually spoken to already, so.
You got to make the journey. Got to support the region. You got to see Berlin.
You got to see Berlin.
There's a fair few things to do.
There's definitely
in this city. A turn of the half. And obviously Wolves at this point, they can only play the game that is ahead of them. They've used their tac timeout around the third round, and, well, their fate on the second half of that was pretty much the same. Exet on a good map for NA on a good map for attackers and on a map with mixed fortunes for Wolves. They obviously played it twice during their journey here in W7M. A 3-7 loss and an 8-7 win, which is a good sort of mark. They lost it to Secret as well in EUL on the journey here.
Yeah, and it's these mixed performances and it's these low percentages, because the 2 times they did lose it, it was quite a hefty loss, we have to say. And right now, at least, they have an opportunity of fighting. Round 7, 2 rounds behind. They need to make sure they strike back instantly on that defense, not give Exet too much space to set up their attack. As Diaz is getting in that drone from the trophy side. It's going to be putting that as a bit of a pre-play, just to get some information down. We've seen Kendry, for example, from Secret, hide in that exact same corner and knock down many, many players as they wanted to go for an execute. Could have even been against Wolves. So they want to make sure that doesn't happen against themselves on the side of Exet.
Mowgli, he hasn't quite been able to have the same effect throughout the series that he's had on their journey here and groups. Neither really has Rise to that follow-up. They're looking to see if they can just get a bit of a lean in. But as the box gets breached and the pullback comes through, the attention is paid towards dining underneath. It's potentially a very quick play onto this. They've obviously got the Glaz watching the back line, the smokes, ready to be deployed. We heard them pop off instantly. Spirits isn't rewarded with a body. They have some awareness, but P4 is actually the next to suffer. They're just checking that nobody's tucked in close on the corner. The only backline is far on the opposite side. The pings come through. It's a Bulletproof that's been watching this whole fight, not giving them a true engagement.
Bulletproof has been taken out. Next set is setting themselves up for a full-fledged 5-on-5 executor. As some players up, still on the top floor, 1 on the back of Trophy. Wrong timing from Kino. Still lives somehow, as he was being shut up by Mowgli. He's gone in and dig a little bit deeper now. Spirits does go down by Mowgli and the MK14.
It's an important fight, but Kino brings it right back round. They lose the Glaz and the ability to see through the smokes. They just got to see if they can try and get this kit down. The Bulletproof was taken as well. It turns into a bit of a blind fight, so P4 digs himself close. Do they know the plant's going down? Oh, can you get yourself an angle? There's the cover. There's the man. There's a cold kick. They've gone for a bit of a retake on the top floor as well. The verticality has gone back into their favor onto the side of Box. P4 tucked right round the kit. Yoga with the cooked grenade. Won't quite get the rest of it. Diaz dropped on the door. And a huge swing from P4.
Gets that quad kill and limits the round differential to only 1 now. 1 more round and we find ourselves even. And the howls get louder and louder. P4 starting to get fired up as well. Not just in game, but vocally. It's a bit of a mixed one going on at the same time, but will it be a 4-4? P4 with that huge play, finding the cover, finding the diffuser as well, shutting down the last 2 members of Exet. There's a bit of a fight going on between the 2 giants.
It's a bit of a back and forth.
It's a bit of a back and forth. But it's 4-3. Wolves already have that first map gone their way. Now, looking to find their second, looking to find their ticket into the semifinals against either Rogue or G2. And as round 8 is about to be upon us, we are headed towards the bar and gaming area. Now, verticality, library is going to be super important. The pillar onto the mezzanines is often a place. A hard point, as you may, for the defenders. Twitch drones often come by, pay a quick visit to try and take care of the ADS is often placed there to deny any grenades from blowing up the person right behind the reinforced wall. And no doubt it will be no different this time around as well.
Steady on here, Wolves. You've got to try and keep that stern face, and P4's got to try and keep a bit of control on the bottom floor. He's looking for anybody that might go for that quick route through. We talked about it from NA, the heavy hammer hit, and a bit of a slink up to the line on Pantry. But the prep is remaining locked for now, and they're happy to just sit and wait for a potential follow-up and hope they don't get drowned and droned.
Pre-fire's coming through. Yoga hoping to find a very tight angle onto the player on the hard point, on the stronghold. This on top of the mezzanines, near the pillar. Spirits and Gomez coming in from the window. They might just be going for a direct push right down the middle. A grenade to be cooked. It's B4 with a run out, but it's not going to be able to hit anything. Spirits will find Rise. That's a great entry for the side of Wolves, for the side of Exet.
I was going to say, not for Wolves, but at least nobody suffered behind it. There wasn't that second swing that Exet likes to do. Mowgli's in a very aggressive position here, and he's not really sure where he wants to go, but it seems like out of there is probably the best option. P4 might be under the next bout of pressure. He's rotated his way all the way up the far side stairs just to give some extra support. The drone will reveal him, and he's not going to stick around. You can see Spirits wants to try and apply that. Oh. The F2 swings, he takes the hatch, and yeah, that's the wisest decision I think we've seen.
Lives. If he would have been a millisecond slower, that would have been his head taken off right there. So before lucky to escape after he had been spotted earlier. But that means he's still around and about. He's about to be chased down through the West Main area. Actually, not being checked. He shoots right behind him. That gives away his position. Two players of Exets now on that chase through West Main. Are they going down? No, it doesn't seem to be the case.
No, they've got to try and put some attention onto the site. They know they have a man advantage. If one is loose, well, that just makes it a 5 versus 3. You wrestle some trade control, and suddenly it doesn't really matter where the other loose player is. So P4 rotates his way back round. Bibu rotates his way off, caught out. Spirits is inside the site, looks for a fight onto the prep line. There's one tucked on the corner, the pre-fire connects. Spirit then gets dropped on a trade, but underneath P4, fights his way, cannot get further than the second story. Mowgli. All that's left here is the burn of the Melusi. There's 10 seconds, he's going aggressive. He's able to take one, but it's Kino that keeps the 2-round buffer.
Mowgli, who we also call the Magician, unable to clutch it out this time. He managed to find the first, but Exet already too far around and too far surrounded to be able to make something happen. And the Exet fans are getting louder and louder as, well, they are getting closer and closer to be making it towards the semifinals. 2 more rounds. And they lock themselves in as the only team from NA still being here at playoffs against one of 3 of Europe's.
Wolves, you need to try and find that little bit of magic. You highlighted it before, and we'll see if it can happen down on Snow, a site that evaded them both times, both swings on their attacks. Scarpered and suffered with not a lot of time left. That was the opener there, the swing from Yoga. A scrappy fight and a quick take back, maybe assume just one on the prep. Almost a big retaken moment from P4, but the 4K from P4 was one of their rounds before, and it's something that you cannot forget. We said it before. Exet are a team where all of them love to get in fights. Wolves, not so much, but this game, you're just sort of seeing single-star performance.
We had to find it. I mean, P4 definitely putting in that work. It's just that the rest of Wolves, they need to step it up just that little bit more. And Rise, unfortunately, still in 0 for now, hasn't really been able to find his way in to this map so far. And, you know, that was the case during EOL as well. Went 0-12 on his very first game, and after that, dropped 13+ every single time. For a second there, I thought someone was about to be rappelling in there. Mowgli takes a lot of damage, somehow escapes with his life. Needs to make sure he stays alive as well, because Wolves cannot afford that early loss right now.
I mean, that was that Exet throughout groups, the positions that they had. As soon as Mowgli breathed, he was caught. But there's a bit of a response. Yoga will go down. Won't be confirmed just yet. There is obviously Spirits finding a fight of his own. The cover comes. There's the call. And that's the alibi. So they will know that they have the safety to get that player up. Rise is thinking about causing a problem. This drone is thinking about causing his own. Forces him second further back. Hasn't really been able to connect with the opponents yet.
Got to be fully aware now that someone is around on those back stairs, and Rise will be falling back, realizing he's more useful on the actual side than he would be potentially dead. Slowly, Exet starts to push around the site. Kitchen and Dining is about to fall as the drones come through and confirm no one's out there anymore. That means that Hatch is under the control of the attackers now. Still some prep work to do on the actual site, though. 80 seconds, 2 walls to open up. It's going to be very, very much doable for Kino, who still has 2 of his exothermics left, so nothing to truly worry about. But the mirror window that's out there, that could be opened up, could be created to, well, fight through or deny one of these exothermics. So instead, they just punch it, let them not know anything about it, and thus it gets opened up.
The tricky play back at this point is they've lost P4. We talk about him being the big tour de force of the French and Belgian side. And now they've got to see if they can try and prove that they can keep this moving. Mowgli scrapped and hit round the back of the chassis, is looking to try and maybe find a fight before he's removed. He doesn't have a lot that he can otherwise utilize. The C4 of Bibu. It's a risky swing to take. He's waiting for maybe a little bit more audio. The smoke will buy him a second of cover. The grenade will go one way, and that is out of here. Gomez gets Bibu. There's a fight over the top. Mowgli's down, but Shinka doubles it right back. Rise sprays through the smoke, but they've managed to get the kit close and gets it even closer. Exet sit on map and series point.
One more round, and they need to start fighting against Exet, because otherwise it's going to be over for them. Their tournament ends here. And of course, he would have gotten many side points, but it's not going to be enough. They want to win. They want to continue for EU. So let's start the fight now.
It was just really well put together there from Exet. I mean, the drive through, it's the response that they hadn't really found on the first map on their attacks on Clubhouse. They weren't as tight, they weren't as locked in. It was a 3-3 half, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the Exet that we've seen up to this point. This is. And unfortunately, it's some of the bits of Wolves that we've seen. They were scrappy throughout groups. They were the most clutches and the most OTs, and you can sort of see why here. There's a lot that they need to try and find extra in the canister right now to catch up with Exet on the opposite side. Kino with the Candelas in pocket. And some long-range attention paid.
All they need is one round. Just a couple of connections. If the first entry again goes Exet's way, then it should be very demoralizing for the side of Wolves, because they see it currently slipping out of their hands. Now, they need to attack that top floor. Exet is starting to put up some pressure from multiple different sides on that map. The balcony is being used and currently explored as Spirit's making sure as well that information is out there. Rise on the cameras is just trying to give some information out to the rest of his team to allow someone like P4 to go aggressive, to do what he does best, pick up an entry kill here as Shinka goes for the jump out from the bathroom window. We'll find Spirits. And that's the first.
A good movement there from Shinka. Takes the bite before they had anybody else that they can put in the position. Could feel the drones and the attention starting to mount. And at that point, you've got to take a risk, because otherwise they will take you. Yoga gets one. Mowgli removed back. With the control taken off, they're not going to have any more of the work of the Magician Gomez. A slow creep round, hot drone forward. There's a bit of attention, a swing and a pre-fire, and it's Rises to take his first. Tries to find his second, hits the door, and hits some of the pressure onto Yoga. The Candelas come. Careening across, and it's Bibu that puts the kit cold. Out on the bottom of the door on the far end. The rotation of the Echo drone from Rise is going to get that, feed that intel back towards Wolves. Diaz peppering a couple of shots, but nothing's being handed to him, and there's not a run-up being given. Wolves are just going to hold their cards to their hand here. They might not know that the kit's on the far end, but they sure know they're in a 4 versus 2.
Wolves just need to be patient here. Just stay passive as you currently are. It's a 2-4. If you start fighting now, you might lose it out still. You do not want to give them any 1v1s. This grenade takes that Rise. Brings it back to a 2-on-3. Kit still cold on the ground. Diaz would need to go and pick it up, but instead he goes for the kills. He finds B4. So it's a 2-on-2 situation now. Exet against Wolves.
Bibu and Shinka, all that's left of Wolves' hope throughout this, the show closest to home in a long time. Diaz forced further away. Not quite allowed to come up the stairs as of yet, and with 20 seconds, that's precious, precious time. They've got to take the fight. They have no other option. The kit is too far away. Wolves are tucked into a corner, 15 seconds. There's a close swing.
Oh,
there's one down, Yoga, but he's not quite able to make it. It's a technical 1 versus 1. Bibu crawls in 7 seconds. Diaz charges with everything he can to try and find the sliver end, but Shinka is long gone. At this point, Wolves, they keep themselves in it.
Wolves needing to win 2 more rounds to bring it to OT. What will they go for? Because that last round, they managed to take a big advantage. Unfortunately, still lose out on quite a bunch of players. That is something they need to prevent from happening. Play around at your man count. Make sure you use the advantages you get. And do not allow Exet to get back into it. Just use the tactical timeout. They still had that one left in their back pockets and just flash that card. And as the Wolves set themselves up, I'm wondering how heavy of a roam will this be? How many of them will be actually on the side, or are we just seeing them on the direct floor above?
Well, obviously, this was that snappy round of Wolves where it was a bit of an aggressive retake. They played against the smoke game, and they're playing against the smoke game. P4 is going to make sure that he has Warden's glasses, but it's not the game, actually, that Exet wants to bring. No glass, none of those pocket smoke, something a little bit more direct seems on the cards. They're going to try and force the fights instead, not try and play themselves to a ploy, instead do what's been working, which is destroy some of the hard and then destroy the players behind it.
Before rotating back towards the side, he hoped for a quick entry towards the snowmobile, but wasn't able to find that first engagement he might have been looking for. Knows Warden is, of course, useful on that side. As soon as the flashbangs and potential smoke start pushing through, he can look all right through it. Continue to take on these fights against Exet. Valuable to that extent. Mowgli, up on that top floor, is willing to give himself a bit of extra information, breaks the glass on the barricade, of course, which allows you to listen a little bit better to potential repels to come in. As an RC Retiro about to be turning the corner right here, gaining a lot of information. Hey, this first part is going to be clear. Nothing to be found but a bulletproof camera, so we'll destroy that, denying the information that Wolves have.
And a little bit more and a little bit more is sort of the Exet intel game. We can see the drones coming on the far side. The players still have a bit of a shield. Kino's just going to swing onto Ryze's fight there, and he's going to try and move back behind the shield. And back into the fight once again, all over the break. They're somehow able to slip their way past. Ryze is still going to tuck in and hold it a bit aggressive, and Yoga, he has an idea about that. Gomez gets the first. There's a fight, and Ryze bites back. He's trying to drive himself closer and closer. Saw the door was open, and he's got Mowgli for a little bit of shoulder support. It's closer than he thinks, though, Spirits. He's able to get it, and Spirits is driving himself further and further. Pre-fires either side of the door, and he doesn't quite get the connection. Spirits this time, but doesn't have his life for C4, but Yoga gets it. Now Shinka, he's locked on the site. A big potential rotation from P4.
Rotates back up, wants to keep the pressure on. They know where Shinka is. The verticality comes in. And now it's only up to P4 in a 1v3 situation against Exet, who are on map and match point. 2 more opportunities for them to lock it off. P4 retakes the top floor, makes a lot of noise, and gets shut down.
And that is all for Wolves this showing. They fought and bit their way out of groups, but they go no further. Exet, they keep waving all of the flags of their country, but the